Why are you raising your hand? You were here. Right, raise back. Oh, everyone's back. Oh, very good. Very good. Welcome back. I look forward to seeing everybody back, Bez Hashem. All you guys also. Bez Hashem. The curve. So just one nakuda before we finish the simon. We said we're going to finish the simon today, but very quickly. At the beginning of how many minutes did we say? 5 minutes. 5? Can't be so yakish as that. Like 5 to 6 minutes. Like 6 minutes. So just one story. There's somebody on Shabbos. He came to me, a very, very, very difficult shaila. Taka didn't know what to do. He has a computer that he left outside. Very, very, very. How did it happen? He said he was Erev Shabbos. He was typing outside. He was writing his Chiddushei Torah outside, and it started getting close to the Shabbos. So he just left it there, and he ran inside, and there it is outside. Okay, Maisa. It wasn't going to rain on Shabbos, but he says cats can come and people can come and everything. Nobody feels comfortable leaving. And also do in the morning, for sure. Mistama that could ruin a computer, no? I mean, Mistama, all wet. Sometimes you wake up, there's like a whole puddle over there, and it's not from a cat. I mean, it's like from the dew. That's how it goes. So he asked me, was there anything he could do? I told him, look, it's muksa. By him, it's a chesaron kiss. Tell me he doesn't use it for anything else. It's very, very shavative, very important. He doesn't use it for anything else. He's very careful with it. It sounded like a chesaron kiss. It wasn't able to. And if it would be a klishim machtal yisr, it'd be anyways only motel tzarku from the kaimai. But maybe we could do a rama. But here it was a chesaron kiss. It's a chesaron kiss. Is there any heter to move muksa? B'makim hefsid. Is any heter? So we had this really. The truth is, last week we had this in a very sneaky fashion. The Mishnah Berurah, like in a very sneaky way, the Mishnah Berurah showed us that you can never move muksa b'makim hefsid. There's no heter. The only heter that the Mishnah Berurah had of moving muksa, he said al tsar balechayim in kufnan beis. He brought down a heter that if you take the animal and you don't do a full tiltal, remember that you just like push the chicken lachabissel, you push the schnitzel a little bit, or you pick up the behem a little bit by his ear or something. You give him like mishtupsachepis, that's tiltal minatzad or tiltal b'mixes of sorts, So that much we saw that there is some heter on the table of a muksa. There's a matrim to move muksa when you're not doing a full tiltal, but that's not going to help us over here. And that was the only thing we were making b'makim hefsid. And to add to this, there's a Mishnah Berurah by us, Mishnah Berurah and Shin Ches in the beginning. The Mishnah Berurah says if it's a kli shemalach like the iser, you could be saimich on the heter of kikar v'tinoik. Kikar v'tinoik, for those that know, by a mace. You take a kikar, you tinok, you put it on a mace. There's a heter to move a mace with a kikar or tinok. Mishnah Berurah says, "Who adim by a kli shemalach the iser?" And the makim have said you could be saimich on that. Okay, but this is not a kli shemalach the iser. So it won't help me to take some like an iced coffee and put it on top of the computer and to carry it out. It's mamish a problem, and more. It's really mefurish. It's just that we saw this last week in a very sneaky way. The Mishnah Berurah sort of kimat said this mefurish. He said moksa is aser afilu b'makim hefsid siv kuf mem vav eser tiltal moksa afilu b'makim hefsid. And then a cryptic message he sends you to Shin Lamed Daled. What's in Shin Lamed Daled? Shin Lamed Daled is le'aleinu, the house is burning down. And there's all types of eterim because the person is boil on mamoina and he's very nervous. So Mishnah Berurah over here and Shin Lamed Daled and Sivkat and Vav and Zayin, very difficult Mishnah Berurahs, very long Mishnah Berurahs. When you go through these long, difficult Mishnah Berurahs, the only thing you get from the Mishnah Berurah is that if Chalila, the house is burning down or something like that, and he's going to come to do an Issa Deraisa. So then we're Mekel b'makim hefsid. Look at the case. The case is that you tell this person there's nothing you could do. You tie his hands, he's going to do an Issa Deraisa. He's just going to say, forget it, I can't help it. If you give him something, if you give him a little something, so then he's going to be able to hold himself. He'll be able to control himself. You got to give him something though. So what they gave him if it's b'makim a hefsid, and the alternative, listen closely, the alternative is that otherwise he would do an issa deraisa. Let's say there would be no F sharias to do a deraisa. There'd be no F sharias for you to do a deraisa. And you're not boiled, or you're not boiled, either one. If you're missing one of the two, Mishnah Berurah says there's no heter b'makim hefsid. He talks over here about the band of angry looters. There they are, these BLM characters, and there they are, and they're about to loot the whole ganze makom over there. So he gets all nervous, right? So the Mishnah Berurah says, well, if there's something you could do, which is a deraisa, like dig a hole and hide your money, so then we're going to let you move muksa, because then we'll prevent the deraisa. But let's say there would be nothing you could do. So then, why should we matter the muksa? That's us. There's nothing you could do anyway. So why should we be matter the muksa? But you see how light? You see how strong? That means this case, our friend with the computer over here, it's a chesaron kiss. It's not that he's going to come to the deraisa. Is he boil? It's not like the anosim or fire or something like this. No, he wants to know what to do. My computer's going to get ruined. I had no eitzah for him. And the reason why it's such an extreme case is because there really is no eitzah of like klachayad. He's very nervous. He's not taking his computer. Aguf, it's a chesaron kiss. He's not taking it and kick. It's on a table. He's not kicking it off. So, he can kick the table a little bit, but all it did was it didn't get into the house. What? Well, so to cover the chayr shouldn't be a problem. That's true. Very good. That's what I told him also. Very good. I would have given something for it, but very good. But l'chayr, there's nothing wrong with covering muksa. That you're not allowed to move the muksa, but there's nothing wrong with covering it because we don't say ein kli nittel elo l'davar hanittel. We don't say that. We say you're allowed to take a davar mutter. You can take a towel and cover it. But he was mamish nervous. He said, "Look, this is he's avreich. This is his salary for this is his salary forever. I mean, this is his avreich. He doesn't have money, and this is big. He was a big. I didn't know what to do. Does anybody have an answer? But obviously, a guy I could probably maybe I don't know maybe a shvus makom hefsed gadol or something like that. If they're big, there was no goyim around it. It's the whole matzah with corona and this that you can't find goyim, at least in our neighborhoods. So you can't get goyim that are going to come to the houses and things like that, right? And zenen ish chasidim the goyim. Verstehst du? What should I tell you? They're not coming. What? Well, it's already a buses by muktzah and hashmoshes and everything. It's what? And anyways, it's a tzarech the muksa. It's a tiltum etzad the tzarech the davar aser. It's aser. I didn't know. No, it's a peldik ma'aser. We're learning muksa the whole zman, and you think like I'd have an eitzah. I'd never an eitzah for him. The only eitzah I had was Rabbi Hershov to cover it. What? No, but he's nervous, and the goyim can come, and what about the looters and things like that? No, who knows can come? What? No, that which is no. It doesn't sound like that from what it has to be boil also. He's not boil. He's totally in control. He came to ask a shaila. Boil means you're not asking shailas. It's a fire, le'aleinu, blazing. That's boil. Or the looters are outside. That's boil, right? It's when you were in LA now, right? That's what you felt like that probably. No, it's that's boil. There's no time to ask a shaila like that. No, that's called boil. What? What's a diaper gonna help? No, it's a gash. So then take off the gash away. But anyways, you can't make a no. That won't help. I don't know. But no, does anybody have an answer? Goy. I said okay. Goy, I would give. It's just makom hefsid meruba. No, peldik meister. That we couldn't find the heter for this guy. It's the mamish. What? What tilt of the gufay? He could do tilt of the gufay. He told me he's scared to do tilt of the gufay. And I said it. So you're going to come all the way from Bayi Vagan to help him. He was scared. He told me he doesn't want to do Tilta B'Gufay. He knew Tilta B'Gufay. He's afraid to do Tilta B'Gufay. I'm sure B'Saif, he took, he bit it and carried it away. But that's the interesting thing. Okay, that's that. Now let's see what we can do over here to try to finish the simon. Not the Peldik and Maisi. You can learn Muktzah the whole time. Think like, like an aguna, right? There has to be an answer for every question, right? There has to be an answer for every question. I sat there working. And then they couldn't find anything except for covering it. And that was the only thing I came up with. And then, an interesting thing. Okay. Now, if anybody has an eitzah, tell me. I don't know. It's, what? I thought I said I don't think so. Well, okay. Sifnun Beis is like this. We started Sifnun Beis the other day. Let's make a little sikum over here. It's the sugya of aniyim and the shirim. So the Gemara Mem Zayin brings down the lashon is what is muksa. What is roi laniyim is not roi lashirim. That's the lashon of the Gemara. What's roi for the aniyim is not necessarily roi for the ashirim. That's the lashon of the Gemara. Then the Gemara and Daf Mem Zai, we saw already. Mem Vav. The Gemara says a neder. If you have something that a person made a neder, so then that says the Gemara that's going to be a problem of muksa. When you look through the sugya, the Gemara, it's a complicated Gemara. The Gemara says that if the husband could be mefer, the Gemara says who says he's going to be mefer, but the mashmais of the Gemara klar is that if there's something that you can't be mefer, then it blight the neder and it blight muksa. So that Gemara seems to say muksa. The Gemara by aniyim, something that's right for the ani, but it's not right for the asher. That's muksa. But yet there's another Gemara Kuf Chav Zayin On the basis, the Gemara says that something could be chazi the kohen, and then it's not muksa. If something is right for the kohen, even though it's not right for me, challah, truma, whatever. Okay, truma tmeya today, it's all tamei, so therefore it's all muksa. But if you have challah before Shabbos, you forgot to put it away, you have to remember that's muksa. It's a emistic muksa. There's nothing you can do with it. Right? You have to keep that in mind. Sometimes a person forgets, and there's the challah on the side there. And you have to realize that is a shtick muksa. But al kapanim, if you have in the time of Chazal, when it was, Roy L'Koyen, so then we say, it's chazi L'Koyen, and even though for you it's not chazi, it's not, but I'm the owner. Okay, but it doesn't matter. It's chazi L'Koyen, and das heißt nicht muksa. Das is the kasha, and the stira, the Taisis fact that the Ran asked, this is the big kasha, the Mishabura's Mahalach in Kufayin is basically what we said the other day, is that it depends if there's a great usa or isura. That was the site that the Mishabura brought down. It comes out basically 3 levels. The Mishabura came out that if you have an item which machmas, it's greyusa, it's chesaron. The case of the Gemara was a shmata, which is, I don't know if we have things like this today. Do we have things like this today? Things that are only roi for an ashir, for an ani, but they're not roi for an ashir. So the case the Gemara is talking about was the avashmata, which is a small size. So an ani, this is mardik for him. He could use it as a ganze rag and everything. Mashenke for the usher, it doesn't have a value. And that's what the Gemara means. It's nachmas greusa. The chesaron of the item makes it that it's not roi for the usher. So without it's not roi for the usher. Therefore, that's considered muksa. I'll give the nafkamina in a moment, but that's the idea. Because for the usher, it's not clothing for the usher. It's not a chepta that's roi for the usher. So therefore, we don't say, well, it's for the klapa the ani, it has a shame of an item. It doesn't work like that. If it's not roi for the ani, so then if it's not roi for the usher, then it's not roi for then it becomes muksa for the usher. If it's not roi for the usher, it's muksa for the usher. I'll explain the case in a moment. That's the idea. Then the Mishabura goes on. He says another cloud. He says if it's a neder, neder is already an Indian of Isura. Neder is an Indian of Isura. So he says it depends. If it's usher to everybody, it's a neder to everybody. So then that's muksa. Something that's a neder to everybody. Very neger, Rabbi says. So haltzach the klal. Very neger. And again, we're going to see in a minute, in hagim and chumras and things like that. But if it's a neder for everybody, so then that's going to be considered muksa. Everybody has the neder. Everybody has this. Mashengen, it's only by you. Only by you. By you, the neder is by you. So then we don't consider this to be muksa, even though you're the bailam of the chayfetz. Those are the klalim and the chazar. Is everybody clear on that? That's very important to get to the next step. That's the etzim idea. I asked the shaila there. So actually one thing before the shaila. Let's say, how far do you take this? Let's say it's owned by the ani. The ani owns it. The ani is the owner. So by the ani, it's a roi de kishmata. So in Bishop, I can understand that if the usher owns the item, so then I understand what the Mishabura says. The usher owns it. So now I understand. It's now it's muksa because you're the owner. Klape you, it's worthless. It's not chashiv. So now not only is it worthless for you, it's worthless for an ani too. Because I'm the bailim. That's the Mishabura's psak. You should know this machlekes and all these things. I'm going straight to the point here. The Mishabura's psak is that if I'm the usher and by me it's worthless, so then for anybody else it's also considered muksa. Again, another person would see this, he'd say, what a mishigah, this is a gewaldige thing. Doesn't matter, I'm the bailim. Even somebody that's not in my house, these things are all machlekes, that's a psak. But what about the other way? What if the one that owns it is the ani? So then for him it's right? The ani is the owner of the zach, right? He's the owner, so he should be kaveya, just like chesar and kiss. Everything is totally in the bailim, no? The kaveya is totally in the bailim. That computer for somebody else was a malach al yeser. For this person, that computer is a chesar and kiss. So why don't we say the same thing? By the ani, if he has a shmata, which is gimel by gimel, so then by the ani, that can be considered taka chshivas. That should be considered a baguette. So klapa the ani is for sure not muksa. That's no question. But the ani is definitely not muksa. So now what's the thing? Klapa the ashir. Here comes the Mishabura, the unbelievable chiddush. Unbelievable chiddush. This time we aren't active on this. Mishabura says no. For you it's muksa. Unbelievable Mishabura. That's what he says over here. Mishabura says if it's not roi machmas grayusa, even if it's owned by the ani, agam the ani is the owner. It's unbelievable. Afal pikein the ashir. It's muksa for the ashir. Peldik amaisa. This is mamish. It's like one of the only things in the whole simon like this, right? I'll read you Mishabura. Mishabura says, he says, where is she? About B'davka k'sha'asher dar b'beisa ani. It's only when the usher lives in the house of the ani. Sha'azu nigrachav. Aval usher da'alma asel taltel. Here's a chiddush, the biggest chiddush. I think this is the last Sivkot in the 170th Sivkot in Shinchas, and it's maybe the biggest chiddush in the whole Shinchas. Unbelievable chiddush. Where do you have this? That's muksa for one person, not for another person. Peldik amaisa. Imagine this. The ani, by him, this is his yarmulke. It falls on the floor, and the usher picks it up. He says, what are you doing? By you, it's muksa. What are you doing? If he lives in the house, it's one thing, but that's not a normal case. So the usher is there by the ani's house, and he picks up the fellow's yarmulke. For you, that's not a yarmulke, because it's not the gimel al gimel. A shirim kanir wear these big yarmulkes. But for you, it's not a davar shel chashivas. Here's a ma'aser. What's the pshat in this? My ma'aser from Chesar and Kiss. By Chesar and Kiss, it's not like that. By the computer, it's totally in the Bailim. Why? What's the pshat? And pshat? The Chazon Ish argues. The Chazon Ish says this isn't true. Chazon Ish and Mem Gimel Chav. He says absolutely not. Once it's a Bailim of the ani, it was keveya that this is a davar that's a usable item. Right? I was kind of trying to think maybe with the masks this might be enough nafkamina. I was thinking like maybe the guy with the mask. Like I don't have it at a site, but maybe the guy with the mask. Maybe by you, the mask is. Let's say what's a pshat when I'm wearing a mask. My mask is by you. I hope you're not interested in my mask, right? So what is that? That's and it's machmas grayusa that you're not interested in this mask. Maybe a tissue is the same thing. I start thinking it's like a lot of cases, like a mask, a tissue. By me, I have this mask. And the mask by me is usable, and I'll reuse it, and whatever. So what am I? So I'm the ani, right? Because this is something that I use, even though it's a grayus. So just one moment. So I haven't worked it out. I'm trying to work it out now. Let's see if it's right. It's right. If it's wrong, it could be wrong. But right now I'm an ani, and what do I mean? I'm an ani. This thing is a davar that's nobody else would use this in the whole world. Machmes the grayus, because it's gross, right? Was that the word gross, right? It's ekeldik. It's not geshmak. So this thing is I'm an ani, and you're an usher, and you're an usher. So maybe if you're an usher that lives in my house, I was thinking that the family members in my house, they're ashirim that live in my house, right? So mamela, they all probably use the same mask. Everybody now, we know the secret, right? But if somebody else comes into my house and he wants to just I don't know why he would touch my mask, but he wants to move my mask, right? So see this, you wouldn't be able to move my mask. No? How old the am I wrong? What is that? Okay, so then you got to get involved. Yeah, you got to get involved with the Graf Shavei and things like that. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. And over here it wasn't the Graf Shavei, because here it was just Tam. It was not Chashiv. No, Rabbi Sheh, what is it? What? I'm not sure. Why not? I understand that, but why not? Why grace of Gimel by Gimel makes it that it's not a chashav kli? So you're telling me a mask that someone used already, it's a disposable mask. Now I started getting very nervous. If this is true, then everything that you used might have this issue, But it is different because your plastic cup is nishkeferlich. I could wash your plastic cup out. I might not. I could, but your mask is dochnarivayim, right? It's I drove past today and I was driving over here. I saw out like on the clothing line. I saw like a bunch of masks, like all the masks like on the clothing line. I said, hey, but that's not so. I don't know. What? Not disposable one. If you guys want to see, it's over there, right there on Puran. When you make the right, I can show. Okay, when you make the right in, you'll see it over there, and on the clothing line. Go look. You're going to go. I also do something. No, but that has nothing to do with this year. One second. No, that sometimes I throw in extra things just to show you I'm like a normal person. But there's no Shmir Senayim on a mask. But there's Shmir Senayim, there's somebody behind the mask. I mean, they're just looking at the mask. Right? But most people, you're going to touch my mask? No, I don't think so. We had a mice at the two of us once, no? With the bug, we had a mice. You do anything with the Rebbe. Huh? Yeah, my mask is maybe different because you could auction it for the Baba Rebbe. I'm not saying the Baba Rebbe, it's a Muslim. They auction these glasses for like $250,000. So I'm not him, but they should auction off the mask for a couple of thousand. No? So, leave me with the glasses in the meantime. We'll get to that point. But no, wait, 1 second. Why am I wrong or am I right? Wrong. Oh, really? Why? Yeah. Why? Who says that that's how the status of money and usher works? Mask, you're not wearing somebody else's mask. It's not because of the quality. It's lacking in cheshivas. It's not lacking in cheshivas. Really? It's the germs. You're afraid of the cheshivas. Okay, but so what? So great. So that's another way of making something not have cheshivas. One way of making something not chashiv is that inherently from Chazal. Another way is much easier. Balabatish is just not chashiv. I'm not machshiv that as a mask. I'm not mashiv your mask as a mask. But I'm not mashiv your mask as a mask. Maybe yours I see as a reusable one. Maybe I can hear that technically I could wash it. But a non-reusable mask, I'm not mashiv it. It's by me. It's a piece of schmutz. Like you're saying, I think Rabbi Stender, anyways, maybe he's right, but he's not moving it for the purpose of graf shavei. He's just not moving it for the makim, not because graf shavei. Maybe you're right. If he's moving it because it's akeldik. No, nafkamina is you come to the shul, there's one on a stender. So then maybe I'll graf shavei. Maybe nishkefer. If he wants it out of there, it's gross, right? But mashenkin stam, he's around, just move somebody else's mask, something that he would never use. So then maybe it's mamish this idea. I don't know. I didn't think about this properly. Let me think about it. What? Why not? Okay, this is a davar garua b'neinei everyone in the entire planet except for you. It's kavachaymer. It's a kavachaymer. Ben benoi shall every kavachaymer in the world. So what? Every person is a kavachaymer. Why not? What? No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. No. Right. No, thank you. This was a big mistake. Okay, right. No, I don't know. You know. Let me think about it. I thought about it when I was driving and I saw the masks. That's when it came. I think I had thought about it a little bit on Shabbat, and then I saw the masks and it hit me this shayla. What? Yud Gimel? See if you can mention class. Yeah, what do you want from that? Shirim atlon yishabalu and yesh b'em gimel al gimel motor nimah. No, doesn't. No, that's totally an arsif. That's not this. Okay, let me think about it. It could be I'm making a mistake. No, we'll see. One second. We're getting there right now. That kasha is too good a kasha. Okay, let's go on a minute. Okay, but the klalim are clear. How to apply it? No, anybody have any? The truth is, it's a big simcha if I'm right, because then we have a nafkamina and sifnun base. There's really no nafkamina and sifnun base. Does anybody know a case of something that's roy for an usher today that's not roy for an ani? I don't think we have these things. What? Is a mask what? What's nafkamina? Hagufa, but when so is the matlanias. So for an usher, that's a gufa. I'd comment that by me, it's a beged. By you, it's not a beged. Hagufa, that's a gufa. What? Okay, but somebody else's undershirt is not the. I don't know. That's not the vart. Somebody else's undershirt is not the vart that I. No, let me explain. He doesn't the kash. He's like I won't wear somebody else's under the hoisin. Right? Getting a little personal over here. But he's right, but that's not a vart that it's felt in the grayus of the item. Like I said, I washed the mask, whether I'm going to do it or not, but I understand that it's a baguette and I understand it's usable for me and I understand that I'm just not interested in using it. Okay? Mashenkin, a mask is something that there's nothing you can do until today when I saw you can wash them. Maybe that'll be the answer why I'm wrong later. But if you can't wash them, which I don't think anybody here is going to wash somebody else's mask. That far, we're not going to go, right? So once you come onto that you can't wash somebody else's mask, a disposable mask, so then it's not daima, because then there's nothing I can do with it. Therefore, it's not like I'm also not wearing your shoes. I'm not wearing anything of yours. I'm not wearing a yarmulke. I'm not wearing anything, right? But it's not the pshat that it's inherently not a beged by me. So then again, I'm not wearing your beged, and I could technically wash it and technically wear it. Mashenkin and mask, there's nothing I could technically even do to it. That's the lundis why an ani and an ashir is so inherently gespalten, split, because an ani, the pshat is, he has something that's right. The ashir says that no matter what you do with that, there's nothing I can do with it. There's nothing I can do with it. So therefore, that's why I'm a subject about this. Well, yeah. You're brave. You're brave. You're brave, and you said that in public. I'm going to tell you the secret. I'll tell you the secret. I don't want to have to do this, but I see you've done it, so I'm nervous to tell you. Sometimes people wear the mask this way, they don't even realize they wear the black ones for sure. Right? Sometimes you wear it this way. You do tshuva? You're doing tshuva. Leave him alone. He does tshuva. Okay. Tshuva. Okay. If a cop would come, if a cop would come, you take his underhosen and also, I don't. Well, you can't bring a riot from crazy. You can't bring a riot from whatever, Don't forget your job every once in a while to check if the Zionists and whatever. Yeah? What? It is crazy. It is. I hear, but it's not the norm. It's not the norm. What do you mean? And wait. Should I be aggressive? Let's say, here's the usher, and somebody took by mistake the usher's clothing from the mikvah. Right? What are you laughing? This is gonna happen. And there he is, and he has to cross the Ratzkin, right? He has to cross the Ratzkin, and all that's left All that's left is something from the ani, which is Gimel. All right, I tried to say it with a straight face. All that's left is something from the ani, which is Gimel by Gimel. A man's got to do what a man's got to do. You can't, you see, you're laughing now, you see? You have to be more mature. I can't. It's immature, it's immature, these guys. I'm sorry? The police has become a normal thing. Again, you know, Rabbi said, in the halacha of Ma'aseh Shabbat, I'm not out of sight, but conceptually. Let's say that doesn't, I won't do it, and I don't think there's a lot. Is anybody like me that won't take somebody else's mask? Right? No, wait, one second. Even if you would take the mask, you will take somebody else's mask. But it's also, you have to remember, whoever had corona already, it's not fair for him to talk. Because then for sure you would take somebody else's mask. Right? I'm asking him to that. You had corona already? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, same here. That's how he got corona last week. Thank you, Maish. And he gave it to Jaime. And right, where's lady? Yeah, Erwin, how you feeling? Let's go right there. One sec. No, let's go back. No, I have to think about it. You know, it's not fair. I shouldn't have talked about this. I should have thought about it first. This is what happens when you don't think about something and you give it to the island to think about together. Dangerous. Let's go back there. 1 minute. So I asked a question the other day. I asked the Shaila that this is a Yisayid, but the Yisayid isn't clear. I hope the Yisayid is clear. Forget if we have an application or not. The Yisayid isn't clear. So I asked the Shaila the other day, which Rabbi Rosenberg, you won. What did I say? You're getting beef jerky. Right? You got jerky beef. So you have to give it to Rabbi Rosenberg. Rabbi Rosenberg, raise your hand so you can see who you are. He's right there. Yeah, right there. So he called me on Erev Shabbos, and he told me the answer. The answer is the Tila LeDavid. The Tila David. What's the Shaila? The Shaila is that, and this is really what Rabbi Spire is asking over here. We got a whole monkey wrench over here in the whole simon. This is a big insight, what you're going to hear now. No matter what, there's a lot of questions here which have to be sviv this nakuda. In Sivchav Zayin, state that there's halacha, Michael Behema, there's halacha if you have the bones. This is basically the basis for a lot of the kulas that we have on Shabbos. A lot of the kulas in Muksa are Sivchav Zayin in that whole neighborhood over there. Chav Zayin, Chav Ches, Lamed, that whole neighborhood over there. Over there it says that if you have bones and whatever and things that humans won't eat, Al Kapanim, but at least on Shabbos, if there are dogs in the neighborhood, animals in it, whatever it is. So the halacha is that then it's considered a Michael Behema. The fact that you're not planning on giving it, we saw, it doesn't matter if you plan on giving it to the animal now. But the fact that it has a shame of a Michael, that's a shanganuk. It's enough that it has a shame of a Michael Behema. The fact that you're giving it is not the Nakuda. It gets a shame of a Michael Behema. That was the aside. So Mishnah the Kasha. It's a Bella. It's the Ani. It's the ferret. He's less than the ferret. He's arrogant than the ferret. He's talking. By the animal, by the dog, you have the bones on the table, and we say that it's roy for a dog. The fact that you're giving it or not makes no difference. It's called Michael Behema. So that means that this is the shame is not muksa because it's something that's roy for someone in the neighborhood. So Rabbi say, what the case of the Shulchan Aruch is clear that we're talking about there are aniyim in the neighborhood. That's what Mishnah is talking about. So there are aniyim in the neighborhood. So if there are aniyim in the neighborhood and you have an ashir that has a shmata of gimel by gimel, so he says it's muksa. Very good. For you, it's muksa. Why is it muksa for him even? Why is it muksa? Because for you, it's not roy. What do you mean it's not roy? Just the bal gaiva was do best. What do you mean bal gaiva? There's aniyim in the town, and for them it is roy. So it has a shame, klape the aniyim at least, of being something that's roy. He's worse than a behema. A bone is yes called a Michael behema. Is yes called a not muksa because I can just get into a hon that a pella, mamish a pella. It's a big kasha. So the answer is, as I talked to Tila David, I'm going fast because we asked the kasha already. This is where we start the shir. This is where the shir starts. Okay. So what's going to be? So the 5 minutes starts from now, right? So the Tila David is a very big site, like a shmaki site. It's not just a site here; it's something global that we could use in other places. The Tila David says the ashir holds that when it comes, let's say, to a dog, forget an ashir, but me and you, I don't have a dog, you don't have a dog, none of us are giving the bone to a dog, but we agree that it is a chefza of dog food. We just don't have dogs, and we don't plan on giving it to dogs. Right? So the fact that you're going to give it or not going to give it, who cares? I need to dan on the etzim chefza. Is this chefza a chefza which is roy for somebody else other than yourself? If it's roy for a dog, that's enough for me. And you admit that this thing is roy for a dog. You admit this is dog food. Just you don't have a dog. So then as long as there are dogs, that's the shame of this chefza. Masha ein kain. When I have a shmata that's gimel by gimel, By me, it's not clothing. So now when you're dining on the chefs of clothing, usable item, whatever, shmata, whatever, by me, it's not shmata. So now me and an ani, it's other rabbits because he's not a Baldaiva. Me and the ani, we're the same person. We're both people. We're both humans. And klape me, I hold that human beings should not be using this as an item. I hold it's a grace in the chefza. I hold for that it's not roy as a shame of a beged, a shame of a rag, a shmata, whatever it is. You have to know what they were using it for here. But Al Kapanim, I agree. I hold that what you're doing is mevuzadik. I hold there's a problem with you that you're doing. It could be you have to do it, right? But human beings should not be using it. A category of human beings shouldn't be using it. Mashenkin, when it comes to behemoths, if you have something which is right for behemoth, now you're going into a different level. Do I agree animals should use this? Yes. The chiddush of the Tila, the David, is that we don't look at aniyim and ashirim as different categories. Even though B'nai Obey and the halacha, we're looking at them as different categories. But that's the side. The side is that the shame clothing is hukva k'tini. So I say it's not clothing. So what are you going to do? You're going to tell me that an ani would use it as clothing? But I hold it's not called clothing. Mashenkin by behema, I think it's not Michael Adam, but I do agree it's Michael behema. You can get a little bit labidik with the shaila. What happens if the Ashirim would never give their dogs bones? If you get involved, it could be a shaila. That's what you asked me. Somebody asked that kasha. What if you asked it also? I don't know, Rabbi Rosenberg. Somebody asked me the kasha. What if you asked it could be the second time you called me. The second time. That it could be if the animals in other words, rich dog, rich people, whatever. If rich people would never give bones to their dogs and they would only give them like Fido bits and like all these like Cocoa Puff looking things or whatever. So then B'kai Gavna, it's Itachon that Enechanami. They hold that this thing isn't called anything. It could be based on this circular. What? That's the chiddush. I'm saying the chilik is the chilik. Emelsa. You have to, emelsa. That's the chilik. I could have heard not like this. I'm not chazugnish that it could have not like this. But the gefaldik is what? What? No, the third time you called me, that was Shabbos. I didn't answer. I mean the second time. What? Dog clothing, same idea. The same type of thing. The second time, not the third time. Yeah, okay. Sushi. What about sushi? What? So what? It's definitely food. You mean I don't eat fish. I don't eat raw fish. And he does eat raw fish. So he's saying, Klape, when I want to convey what the shame of the food is, so that I can't look at the neighborhood of fish eaters. Without that. No, it's without the cats. In other words, the reason why we're saying, let's say, raw salmon, right? The reason why we're saying she's not muksa is because people eat raw salmon. It's not considered sushi. Excuse me, it's not considered just not inedible, right? So he says, so what about me? Me, I'm an ani. I'll be a ani. Clap this. In other words, I don't eat. No, I'm an usher. Ironically, I'm an usher. I don't eat raw fish. I'm an usher. I won't eat raw fish. I'm an usher. So klape me. What do you want to tell me? That there's a million people out there that eat sushi, right? 1 second. There's a million people out there that eat sushi. So you don't. I don't eat sushi. I don't eat sushi. So because I don't eat sushi, I'm going to say that it's muksa. I don't eat sushi. Why? It's a gewaldige question, no? Why not? It's a great question, no? What? No, it doesn't minority. Ashirim are also the minority. In the times of Chazal, the Ashirim were the minority. Today, maybe not. What? That's all the kasha. He's asking that kasha. He's asking that Chamshi is you'd be an ani if he does. What? No, it doesn't mean in monetarily. I didn't give you a clue. What? What? So wait, I just want to show you this Mikasha. I love you. I'm not saying this. This is what's called a klutz kasha. Yeah, everyone knows what a klutz kasha is? You don't know what klutz kasha is? Klutz kasha is a kasha that it sounds like I say good and geschmack, and it's mamish a toys mineu bei minei. It sounds so good, no? But I'm not going to tell the answer because it's a klutz kasha. Why'd you do this? And I'm not going to finish this in the 5 minutes has not started yet. You all should realize that. Why'd you do this? Right? You know the answer? Good kasha, no? I'll tell you the answer without telling you the answer. But the Gemara is first not like this. Where's the Gemara first not like this? Where? Yeah, very good. The Gemara is first not like this, right? But first of all, does everybody understand the question? Right? The little guy on the bike out there, you understand the kasha? No, all right, here you go. Okay. The evidence in the kasha is moiridik. Moiridik kasha. Klutz kasha sometimes can be moiridik. The kasha is that I don't eat fish. I don't eat. It's not going to get me. It was not really going to get me because my wife and kids all eat this. They're all Chinese. But no, you can for sure have. I'm sure is anybody in this house that doesn't eat raw fish? Anybody here? And your wife and none they're all Chinese, or they're not? No, so they're Chinese. No, doesn't know. Yeah, anybody? No one. Okay, Rabbi Lieberman. Right. So he's for him it should be mamish muksa. It should be mamish muksa, right? Because he holds that there's a grayest on the chefza of eating it in this fashion, right? Grayest in the fashion. What? Yeah, I was Muhammad just now to the answer. But one second, I'll prove you the kasha doesn't start because the Gemara says mifarash that raw meat mifurish. The Gemara says raw meat is not muksa. Why? Okay, we dealt with this today or not today, but at least in the time of the Gemara said raw meat is not muksa because there are those like that eat it even though it's not so normal. And I told you in the Gemara Menachos, it was like some weird guy from Bavel. They called him you Babylonian that eat raw meat. So it was very weird to eat raw meat. That means most normal people weren't eating raw meat. Rafa Pikein, that was enough to turn this food into food enough that she's not muksa. So it's mefurish in the Gemara. It's game over, right? Tayis Gemura. But now why? Okay, Hagufa Kasha. Hagufa Kasha, what's the answer? What? Explain a little more. What? We're trying, exactly mundo. Here we're starting out with a chefza that is food. We're starting out with raw meat or raw fish or whatever. You're starting out with something that's food. And we're trying to say, is it enough already of the shem roi? That's all we're trying to figure out. Does it have enough of a shem roi? The chiddush of the roi is enough. It's a dimension, it's kind of assassin. If people can eat it, that's already enough to have the shem roi. And that gives it a shem meichel. But it is food already. It has the Thomas Eichel in Rabbi side. It is food. So once there's people that technically can eat it, that means you also can technically eat it. That's it. Once the fact that you're not going to eat it or whatever, but it doesn't matter. You technically could eat it because there are people that technically eat it. That's enough to give it a shame of oichel. Okay, kanira, bayanirim, ashirim, and whatever. There it's the other direction, like you're saying. There the pshat is that it doesn't have a shame of a beged. This is hard for our Western civilized minds to understand. Right? You use my mask case if I'm right, right? By the case of the mask, it doesn't have a shame of a mask for you because for me it's just not shaykh. It's just ekeldik. So what are you going to tell me that somebody else could wear it? Who cares? What's enough Gemina? For me, it doesn't start. That's the idea. Is that crystal clear? Crystal clear. Right? What? Again, I also agree something that's Gimel al Gimel, he's going to use as a Shmata. But it has the grace of makes it that like me, it doesn't have any chashivas. And it doesn't have the value of being used as, I don't know what they used it for, I'll be honest with you, as being used as a re'ag, a shmata, I don't know, whatever. It's hard for us to understand because we'll find something to use for anything, right? I mean, even the Ashirim use it, fakir. Usually the Ashirim are the guys that, the most karg, right? The most, they find the most zachin to use things for, right? What are you throwing that out for? Money grows on trees, certainly not here. But you understand that the idea of greyes is showing me that the chefta didn't get the shame yet. By oichel, I just needed to show that it has a shame oichel because there are people that can eat it. Okay, that's the. Come again? I think so because there the lumdus is that again, even the shita C, which I'm not 100% sure about, but the other word is I agree it's a beged. I just won't wear it in this mind. It's yena underwear, not Yenam's underwear. Yena underwear, right? It's Yena underwear that I also won't wear his underwear, but it is clothing. It's something that's shaykh to wear. It's the same idea. The same idea. Look, that's does it does. Okay, good. Now it's not even a klutz kash anymore. No, now it's a shalom bittul Torah. No, so it could be you have to make a birchas Torah now, because now there was a hesach hadas. No, there's a munkacha that says if you do an aveira b'mezid, what's the pshat? You take a rest in the afternoon, or you're working. You don't have to make a birchas Torah. Why not? So Taisa says, why should I make a birchas Torah? Because I'm always going back to learning. There's no hesach hadas from learning. Unless you sleep overnight, then it's hesach hadas from learning. So munkacha talks about what if a person does aveira b'mezid? You can say in those moments he's thinking Torah, he's thinking about getting back to Torah, he's doing a ma'aseh b'mezid, big shot. So to say sometimes a svara could be mechayev a new birchas Torah. No? Yeah. Let me go. Okay, so now we start the shir. That's for the 5 minutes. I'll start from now. Okay, so like this. Giroyin, listen, I'm going to break it down as 4 rules now, okay? And then we're going to go to all the cases. Now we start, because these are the cases, right? You start the 5 minutes, okay. The Giroyin depends on Ani Asher. Giroyin meaning when there's a cheshivas problem, then it depends on Ani Asher. Again, Ani Asher is conceptual. I might have other ways of determining Ani Asher. I'll explain it, obviously, but that's one. Then there's Isser. What's Negei As Isser? Isser is very Negei As, Rabbi said. Isser, you're going to have something that's Isser Mamish, and then that very well should be Muksa. What do I mean? Because that's doime to a neder, which is Asser to everyone. When I have a neder, which is Asser to everyone, we saw that's yes Muksa. Remember? Neder Asser to everyone, that's yes Muksa. But then I have something which is only subjective. It's only you. It's only you. That was a neder that's Asser to you. What's an example? We don't have nedar, most of us. So what's an example? Minig. No. Minig, chumrah. That's only negei me. I have a chumrah. I agree that you don't have my chumrah. I have a minig. I agree you don't have my minig. That's a neder, which is a subjective neder. It's a personal neder. That's how we're going to have to don these shilas. Okay, everybody with me? I'll get to the cases, but that's how we're going to don the shilah. The case number 1 is lacking in chshivas. I tried to find a case. Maybe I was matzliach, maybe I wasn't. The second case is isser to everyone. Okay, that's very good. Any case which is isser to everybody will get cases which are asser. Then they become muktzah. That's everything we've been doing for the last few months. Right? Then you have something which is asser to me and not to you. And then there are things that get complicated. Things that are, I hold it's asser for me and for you, and you don't agree with me. That's very complicated, right? I hold it is also for me, and I hold it's also for you, right? And then that's a big problem. What is that? We'll see. And that's the fourth. That case is the fourth case. That case is the Baravarian. I hold that it's also for you, and within this case, there's different levels, right? One is I hold that there's nobody who disagrees with me, right? So it's also to drive a car. Nobody disagrees with that. I don't know. Maybe today you never know. But nobody holds not like that. So then I decide, what's that case? That's usher to everyone, and everyone agrees. And then there's something I hold is usher, and I hold it's usher for you, not just a machmer. Okay, that's let's go now. So for example, let's the case like this. For example, chumrah is a nidarim. If I have a chumrah, I have a minig. I'll give you examples in a moment. But I have a chumrah, I have a neder. That makes a lot of sense to me. That's exactly like neder, and therefore it's not muksa. Even if I have a minig, but you don't have my minig. So then that would make a lot of sense to me that's not going to be muksa. The next case of where, if I hold it's aser, so then if I really hold medina it's aser, pashtus is that I hold it's aser. So I hold you have to hold it's aser. Let's say I'm a paisik and I hold it's aser, not that or my paisik holds it's aser. So then it's aser. Then the last case is baravarian, that everybody holds it's aser. That last case that we have a little bit of literature on. In the last case, there's a Shevet HaLevi in Tes Ayin Ches, in the 9th volume, in the 78th Tshuva. He brings down from the Marsham, who brings from a Gadol Echad, a certain Gadol, and that this Gadol said that it's not Muksa. You hit the Maisa, that it's not Muksa. What's the case? The case is this guy is, I don't know how far to take this. I mean, he's got money. He's got money, and he walks around on Shabbos. He carries his wallet. He's a Russia. He's a Chilai. Make him to Russia if you don't want. Make him a Tinok Shanishba, whatever you want. But he's certainly doing the wrong thing. So now, what is that? So this Gadol Echad said, well, he's not Makatzadas. He's not Makatzadas. So the Shevet Levi says, Lanias Taiti, this is not true. This is absolutely not true. Again, the Klalim that we saw makes a lot of sense, right? That the Shevet Levi is right. I hold it's aser. Everybody holds it's aser. So what is that? That's a neder that's aser to the whole world. If it's a neder that's aser to the whole world, so then the daiden becomes muksa. So we'll see if it's so if you're very very neger, but it's like a guy comes into your house. Sometimes it's not so weit today, unfortunately. Leider it's sometimes the mishpacha and whatever. He comes into your house and he comes for a Shabbos meal or whatever, and he gives you his coat. What's in his coat? Well, he drove here. Right? He got the car keys in there. And he's got a wallet in there, maybe. You don't know. He probably doesn't have his phone. His phone is never leave the phone. Right? So the phone's not there, but the car keys might be there, or maybe not. You don't know. Maybe the car keys are in his pocket, right? Maybe. And the wallet is in there. Maybe not. Most people keep the wallet in their pocket over here, right? So you don't know. So what's Lamaisa? But wait, we have another side now. Wait a minute, it's not Muksa because he holds these things are usable on Shabbos, right? So maybe it's not Muksa. So the Shevet HaLevi would say, no, it's Muksa. The Shevet HaLevi would say it's Muksa. It's Tamas and Maimar Muzker, Could you take the coat? Mistama, you could take the coat. Because Mistama, the stuff wasn't there. It gets a little bit complicated if he comes on Friday night, right? With this, let's say he has stuff in the pocket. First of all, you don't know if he has stuff in the pocket. Second of all, it's not going to stay there the whole Shabbos. We know that. And that's a whole shaila in buses, which Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to learn even today, after the 5 minutes are up, right? That it's not going to stay there the whole Shabbos, you know? And another thing is, who says it was there the whole Ben Hashmashis? You don't know if it was there the whole Ben Hashmashis. And you also don't know if there's anything there. So now I'm holding Tiltel Minatzad, I'm holding the coat, and it's probably not a basis. We'll see anyways, it might not be a basis. And I'm doing Tiltel Minatzad, L'tzarech what? L'tzarech, to hang up his coat. So, what? Something. He might have in their money. Money's not a klishmach. It's a mutzmach. So Mistami, you could take his coat, but forget that. Let's say he as he's you're hanging up his coat, his wallet falls on the floor, and you're just gonna leave it there. This is from Jews. You're gonna get the whole thing, right? And there's the wallet on the floor. You're allowed to pick up the wallet and put it in the coat. It sounds gefarlich, right? You're allowed to pick up the sounds gefarlich. Sounds gefarlich. The Shevet Levi says it sounds gefarlich. It sounds like Kallus. Comes again Rav Moshe. I don't know what to do with this Rav Moshe. I don't know what to do. I'll tell you what he says. Rav Moshe is in Chelik Hay, in the 22nd Tshuva, over there. I don't know what to do with Rav Moshe. It's in Ois Beis. In the 22nd Tshuva, he has a lot of short Tshuvas. These were the ones to Rabbi Badner. I don't know what to do with Rav Moshe. He writes like this. I'm not clear. I wish I had the words and I could read it to you. He says books. He's Mechalik, a very interesting chiluk. He says, if you have something which is Aser Machmas Melacha, a hammer, whatever, he doesn't say what. I'm going to say what, right? He says, if you have something that's Aser Machmas Malacha, a hammer, car keys, okay? Car keys, a hammer, these things. So he says, B'kahai Govna, that is going to be considered muksa, and I don't care that the Chiloini is using it and the Russia is using it or not. That's where Moshe writes. He says, but let's say you have something which isn't Aser Machmas Malacha. I saw a lot of Svarim that misquote Rav Moshe. Some Svarim misquote Rav Moshe, and they write that Rav Moshe said, if the guy's a chiloini, it's not muksa. All the stuff isn't muksa. There is no such igris Moshe at all. There's no such igris Moshe. I'll tell you what he does say. Rav Moshe says, if you have a davar which is aser machmas milacha, his phone, his computer, his hammer, his everything, all the muksa items, all the kalim items and whatever, all those things he says, Avada says Rav Moshe, they're muksa. Avada those are muksa. I guess inherently that's the chef saleda. That's the chef. But Rabbi said, but let's say you have something which is muksa, not because of the malacha. Okay? What's his example of Moshe? His example is a book, a treifa book. So he says a treifa book is something that you're not allowed to read in the week. And Moshe says, Mishabura says, if you're not allowed to read it in the week, so then it's aser on, it's a shtarit, it's aser on Shabbos, it's muksa. Okay? So you have a treifa book, or documents or something like that, whatever it is. So he has a book in his pocket. It falls on the floor. Okay. So Moshe says that book is muksa only for someone who's makbid on the halacha of not reading the book. Those are the words in Rav Moshe. In other words, you read the book, so then for you it's not muksa, and then mamela it's not muksa. Not just for you. Now it's not muksa because you're the bailim, which I also don't understand. It should be totally in ashir minaniyim. Okay, wait. But then Rav Moshe says, but Mashen came, if by you, if it's your book and you don't read the book or documents and you don't read the books on Shabbos, you follow the halacha, so then yes, it's muksa. So first of all, Stan, that's Rav Moshe said, very hard to understand this Rav Moshe. What is this thing? If it's in the chefza, then Rav Moshe agrees to the Shevet Levi. It's a hammer, that's a this, right? Why is a book not a hammer? Why is the book not a hammer? You're not allowed to read the book. So why is it not a klish malach le'liser? Why? I don't fully understand Rav Moshe, but I'll go further in Rav Moshe. What about money? What about money? Money is not aser al malacha. Rav Moshe's words are that if the item is aser machmas malacha, so then I don't care if you are makbid on the halacha or not, says Rav Moshe. Then it's inherently, it's muksa. It doesn't matter if you're going to follow the halacha or not. But if it's not out malacha, says Rav Moshe, and his example is book, then it depends on the person if he's following the halacha or not. So what about money? What's money? What is money? Is money aser al malacha? What is it? Why is money muksa that we dealt with? It's hard to know, whatever. Money just represents and whatever. It's used in Melkechel Memker, but it's even muksa machmas gufa. It's not klish machli yaser. So money is just inherently no value on Shabbos. I don't know. No usage on Shabbos. So is that muksa? I don't know. According to Rabbi, it's not muksa. It's very big. I don't understand this. I must tell you. I don't understand Rabbi. If anybody understands Rabbi, should tell me. I don't understand Rabbi. I want to understand Rabbi. What? So let's see. The feed this, even according to Moshe, it could be a problem. In other words, because that's Yadur Moshe Aser baby wipes. So Mamela, so let's see. So Moshe held everybody has to be machmar on baby wipes, right? Wait, slow. So now, what is the isser of the usage of the baby wipe? It's a malacha, dash or whatever, right? Whatever malacha it is, it's a malacha. So then that's the hammer for Moshe. So now Moshe will tell you, so then that's something that's not just muksa for me. So probably a kli shemachli yes, or maybe it won't be muksa machzrufa, maybe it's a kli, whatever. Yishladim, maybe it's worse because it's muksa machma sister, whatever. Might be worse. Okay, maybe not because you won't come to later. So later. But Akapanim, there Moshe would say. So now we look at the item inherently. I hold it's usher for everyone. If you hold it's usher for everyone, so then Memela it'll be muksa for everybody, right? Nafkamina is the shviger, right? Pass me the baby wipes, right? So, right. What do? You can't pass it. The klitz machmal yisser, l'tzarich yisser. What's that there? According to this gadol echad, I don't know, but that's the chayah. That's the chayah. So again, to take his coat, I don't mind so much taking his coat. You can tilt him in sad, and I don't know if it was there in Ben Hashmashis and the Sveikis. I don't know if there's anything in there for the matter, right? But if something falls on the floor, I don't know how you can pick it up. Pick up with your mouth, I guess. While it falls on the floor, because no, the Chil Hashem, maybe if you don't pick it up, so you pick it up with your teeth, your armpit or something, and then you put it back in his coat. I don't know. That's the chayra. That's a chayra. Kitnius. Okay, that's a case number. What about kitnius? Kitnius is very interesting, right? Gebrox, kitnius. So let's see. Kitnius is a chazain ish. The chazain ish in Mem Tes Vav Tes Zayin. He says, you know what? Kitnius is not moksa. Kitnius is not moksa. Now kitnius obviously is not aser ben no. And our minig Ashkenazim, we just don't eat kitnius, right? But it's not also about no. You're allowed to get a no from kitnius, right? You're allowed to, smear peanut butter on your wound on Yantiv or on Chalamayit, excuse me, because it's kitnius is not even also about no. It's not real chametz. It's samela, and you don't have to sell kitnius. So now the shaila is, what's the din of kitnius? Is it muksa? Says the Chazon Ish. 2 reasons it's not muksa. Says reason number 1 is it's right for you. It's right for your children. Maybe don't give it to kids, but mikar din, it's not so pashut. It's also chaylim, right? And then he says, and also the Sfardim that live amongst us. So if the Sfardim that live amongst us, so then I decide, it's right for the Sfardi. That's what he says, right for the Sfardi, and therefore, that's enough. The fact that you're going to not give it to the Sfardi or whatever, that's enough. That's what he said. Now, myself, I was thinking that's true today and most of the places. What about you go back to Hungary? Hungarian Eden 100 years ago, 120 years ago, they didn't have Sephardim back then in Hungary. They didn't have it, right? And so there he is, his kidneys. Now we have kids. You have kids in Chaylim. So anyways, you have kids in Chaylim. Okay, so where are we going to put it? We're going to put him on an army base, or Hungarian army base, okay? Hungarian army base. So let's see. Hungarian army base, and he has kidneys. So it's mamish not roy for anyone. And I hold everyone around me has to have this neder too. I hold all you Ashkenazim have to have this neder too. Yeah, it's going to be hard to find the case, you realize, right? Because, it'll be very hard to find the case. Oh my goodness, this is very not good. All right, we have a few minutes actually because we started late. But, okay, and the same thing with the Gebrox, right? Gebrox, I hold that you are not allowed to eat Gebrox. The Gemara says you're allowed to eat Gebrox, right? So I hold that I don't eat Gebrox. I hold you can eat Gebrox. So therefore the Gebrox aren't, the problem becomes like this. The Gebrox isn't muksa. The Gebrox isn't muksa. Knedlach isn't muksa. These things aren't muksa. The shah is like this. What about the guys that don't eat machine matzah? Is anybody here who doesn't eat machine matzah? But like bedafka, not like with Isser, right? What did the Kleisenberger say? Hakeh Shina, because they eat the machine matzahs. Mamish, by them it was treif gomer. Treif gomer. You don't eat machine matzahs, right? Right? No, Rabbi Zinger, you don't, Chalila. Huh? No, chas v'chalila, right? No, chalila. No. So you don't eat them, no? What? Chametz gomer, yeah, no chametz gomer, right? So let's say, are there any goyim that eat machine matzah? A few goyim. Okay, a few goyim. You eat it at the Seder even, no? You eat it for the matzah's mitzvah? Sometimes, no. Real goyim. I must take a real goyim, right? So now, here you are, you're playing the drops down in Africa over there, right? And you go to lady's house. So you're not going to be, unfortunately, the mitzvah matzah that night, but it's better that than what's the alternative? To eat chametz, right? But so he says to you, oh, could you pass me the matzah? You're passing matzah. Now you hold that he's not allowed. You're not you. You hold that you hold that he's eating non-kosher. You realize he's eating non-kosher. If you really believe that he's eating non-kosher, so then it would be muksa, right? Well, it's a podcast I want to get to. I'm going to get to it maybe in the first 2 minutes of the shir tomorrow. But what? The baby wife's a chayra. If you hold it's asa medina, I hold it's asa medina. If you hold it's asa medina, it's a problem. If you hold it's asa medina, I mean, chayra. Treif. So we spoke about treif. There it depends. Maybe it was oimid. We said that the treif. I gave the example of like somebody gives you chocolate or something, right? It's treif. There's nothing you can do with it. What are you going to do with it? Obviously, you're going to wind up giving it to a guy, right? So maybe that you could say it's not muksa because it's oimid for you. Now you might not be allowed to give it to the guy on Shabbos because you necessarily give matanas, right? But just a moment. No, but matanas. You can't give a matana on Shabbos, right? But mitzad the chefza, could you say that it's not right? So that it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like it is. Inherently, it's right because there are goyim around, and that's what I'm going to wind up doing with it. So I agree, it's animal food, and that's what it's oimid for, and whatever. So then that could be taka. Could be it's not muksa. It could be it's not muksa. I was mesupik one nekuda that maybe because I can't give the matana on Shabbos. That was my suffix a few days ago. Since I'm not allowed to give the matana on Shabbos, but there are ways to give it to the guy. You know what? What do you say? I could what? No, I could sort of give it to the guy. I could say to the guy, here. But what are you going to do? You start explaining to a guy. Could you imagine telling a guy, here, I'm giving it to you, but it's not a matana. You know what he's going to say? He's going to say, huh? And you come to the house and just put out the chocolate. Yeah, that's not bad. And you're allowed to invite a guy on Shabbos to the house. That's what we saw in Shin Chavei. It's only on Yom Tov that you can't invite him to the house because he might cook for him. What? Yeah, exactly. What? Yeah, but not everybody has a cleaning lady in the house on Shabbos because there's all types of big problems with that. So look, it doesn't seem like there are a few more cases we have to talk about, like cigarettes on Yom Tov we have to talk about. We have to talk about Yom Tov Sheni. We have to talk about toys, baby toys. We have to talk about children's toys. We have to talk about games and kataima. And that's that. Okay, so for the first 5 minutes, you guys start bosses. The first 5 minutes, you guys. If anybody's having chavrusa issue, you should come to me. Call to Rabbi.
Why is someone else's laptop?
Give me 10 seconds. It was a lot of fun today, no?
Yeah.
Not down. It's like good for a Sunday, no?
Why was that chilling?
But I didn't have an iced coffee.